Fat First Man 2 now, live on Indiegogo. Well, hello everybody. Today I thought I'd show you this little book that I have called Secrets Behind the Comics by Stan Lee. Now you'll see it says digitally remastered and it was 20 bucks. And you're going, well, what is this little gem? Well, I'll tell you. This is the updated modern reprint of the 1947 edition. 1947, Stan put this out, of Secrets Behind the Comics by Stan Lee. It was originally published by Famous Enterprises, Inc. It's written by Stan Lee with illustrations by Ken Bald. This book was published after Stan Lee wrote an article for Writer's Digest on the same subject matter. Though not the first book of its kind, Secrets Behind the Comics was a wonderful source of material to help inspiring young writers and artists to break into the comic book industry. It's been reprinted and updated several times. Features profiles on Sid Shores and his creation, The Blonde Phantom. It also includes profiles on Mike Sekowsky, who you'll know from Justice League fame, not much for Marvel, but he did work for Marvel, Basil Wolverton, Al Jaffe, and Martin Goodman. One of the gems of this book is a detailed description of how Captain America was created. This is 100 pages, black and white, cardstock paper, and it's not that big. It's 5.5 by 8.5. Originally, this was $1. Now, if you can find it, it's about 20. Look at that, Millie the Model. This book isn't super text heavy, so I don't want you to think that. And this is definitely not, you're not going to just get this one book and be like, that's it. I know everything there is about comic books. Table of contents, we'll just go through it. Well, secret number 1, who is Stan Lee? Why did he write this book? Secret number 2, how is a comic magazine born? We can just go through it. So you've got some, fun little illustrations. How's a comic magazine born? Well, a man called a publisher has a lot of money and decides to spend some of it publishing a comic magazine. So, I mean, it's, this is a very basic thing. But remember, in 1947, this book sold for $1. So this is more of a collector's item to have now than something that you're really going to learn a lot of, or at least you'll learn about things from how they were done in 1947. Secret 3, who writes and draws the comics? Ooh. Secret number 4, how to discover who is the real artist of a comic strip. The only way to really tell is by learning to recognize artist styles. Because remember, this was back before artists got credit. Every artist has his own different style of drawing. No two artists ever draw exactly alike. And this is an example. Ed Winarski, an old-time comic artist and ex-movie cartoon artist who draws Hetty Devine. Vic Dowd, advertising artist and ex-GI, who also draws Hetty Devine. And there you go. And he goes in and explains how you can kind of see the differences in those two artists' work. So this is pretty cool. Once again, I'm going to reiterate a lot. 1947, guys. This is from 1947. And it tells you how to recognize artist styles. Nice little breakdown here. Notice that there are lots of background drawings in Edward Winarski's page. That is, lots of houses, furniture, people, clouds, etc. It's a part of Ed's style to use many backgrounds. That is one good way to recognize Ed's drawing. Also, you can see how many folds Ed draws in figures. Here is Vic's page of Hetty Devine. Notice that he does not use nearly as many backgrounds. Wow, background shaming. But there's bigger figures on this page, so I don't mind that. Secret 6. Does the same person who writes a comic strip draw it? Well, I mean, we know that, yes and no. It just depends. Secret 7, how do artists and writers work together? Well, very contentiously these days. Just kidding. I've gotten along with every writer I've ever worked with. Usually when I get a script, I like to email or contact the writer just to introduce myself and meet them for the first time and to get to know the person. I don't know if that's how it was back then. Do the artist and writer have to live together? No. That's a good thing. Do the artist and writer have to be good friends? No. Do the artist and writer even have to know each other? No. This is a business. Of course they don't have to know each other. How are comic scripts even written? The first thing for the writer to remember is that he is writing the comic strip for an artist to illustrate. So the writer must tell the artist what pictures to draw, panel by panel, which is weird. This is in 1947 because Stan is the one that developed the Marvel way. And the Marvel way was basically just saying, you know, here's a plot. You break it down into panels as the artist. But back then, Stan's like, they should break it down. So look at that. What happens to a script after it's written? First, it goes to the editor. The editor reads it carefully. He checks to make sure that the script is funny, interesting, easy to understand, enjoyable, well written. This seems like a little book that should maybe be given to editors today. Just saying. By the way, guys, an original copy of this book in a CGC grade of 7.0 is about $700. So that's what an original copy goes for. On the original cover right here, instead of saying obviously digital remastered, it said price $1, and then this little $20 thing wasn't there. How are comic strips drawn? Very carefully, I say. And now, for the first time ever in the world, Stan Lee will give you the answer. On the page before this one, we saw that the editor got the script from the writer and checked it to make sure it was good enough to be drawn. After the script is good enough to be drawn, the editor must give it to the artist. But the script is sometimes given to more than one artist. And now, here's very important secret behind comics. There might be as many as 3 artists all drawing the same strip. What? I think what he's talking about is penciler, inker, and maybe letterer or colorist is what he's going into detail. I have not read this book in a while. But you can see he goes through the page. I wish these scans were better of this artwork. Violet Barclay, glamorous girl inker of Rusty and many other strips. Well, who knew? This is a great scan of the finished page. I just wish the pencils were a little nicer. Now, just for fun, would you like to try your hand at writing, drawing, or lettering? Oh, now you write a comic strip. Oh, look at that. Suppose you and a friend of yours are writers and the editor calls you into his office to tell you what kind of story he wants you to write for him. Your conversation with the editor will go something like this. Hello, Tom and Mary. I want you to write a blonde phantom story for me. Fine. What kind of story should I write? Adventure, mystery, suspense, humor? And of course the woman says, or love. I want a fast-moving adventure story, 3 pages long, 5 panels to a page, 3 panels on the first page with a surprise ending. Okay, we'll have it for you the day after tomorrow. So long. Shucks, no, love. What? Let's get started. And they start thinking about it. And then look, here's an example script by Alan Solomon. So you get to see example scripts from back then as well. This is a time capsule taking you back to the year of 1947. Relish in it. Oh, look, panel layouts. 3 panels, like he said, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels on this page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on page 4. Wow. Next, the pages, you will find the script, I Hate Me, all drawn out for you exactly as it appeared in the Blonde Phantom Comics number 15. The strip was drawn by Sid Shores. Ooh, oh, here we go. Look, here's the first page with the 3 panels. Pretty cool to see how he composed each. So you got to see the script and read it. Now, and you got to see the empty panel layouts, and now you get to see how he incorporated and laid out the art in the panel layouts that we saw. How very nifty. Try to use some 1947 dialogue there. How very nifty is that? Look at that. Stan Lee is taking you through it. Now, the lettering on a comic book, well, in this day and age, you just get out your old computer, open up Illustrator, and go to town. But not back then. Oh, no. Back then, it was all about hand lettering. The way I learned it in the Kubert School. That's right. So they take you through, look, a B6, FB6 lettering pen. That's what I learned to letter with in the school. Using a lettering guide as well. Here's part of Georgie, which was penciled by clever Michael Sikowski, one of the fastest artists in the comic magazine field. Great caricature of Mr. Sikowski. Pretend that you're a letterer and you've just been given the page of Mike's letter. Ready? Okay, go to it. See how Mario has lettered it. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's how he lettered it. Now, I will say, guys, you don't do the balloons first. You do the lettering if you're hand lettering, or even if you're digital lettering. You do the lettering by hand or digital first, and then you work the balloons around them. How a comic strip is created. Ooh, this is taking you into the creation of Captain America. Oh, I guess Martin Goodman didn't want a goofy caricature drawn for him. So he's got a nice realistic one there. Oh, well, I guess that's kind of a goofy one. And there it is. Look at that. Captain America. Boom. Baby, boom. I don't know how accurate this is. I'd have to read the Simon and Kirby to see how it was actually created. How one artist, secret number 13, how one artist can write, pencil, and ink his own strip. Whoa! Morris Weiss does it all. Well, he does lots of silhouettes, I guess. No, this is just another little story thing, kicking around ideas. And he gets to his desk, but this is a great lesson in silhouettes and storytelling, because all these silhouettes do get the point across of the storytelling. You know exactly what's happening. So it actually works out well. This is funny. This looks like a Cintiq, but it's actually a drafting table, but it looks like a Cintiq, and that's a digital thing with his little digital pencil. So there you go. Secret 14, what happens inside of a comic publishing house? Whoa, let's go inside the Empire State Building. Wow, Timely was in the Empire State Building? I don't think I even ever knew that. Wow, look how swinging it is inside that comic book office. I miss those days. This is the way the office is laid out. Oh, waiting room, pencilers, assistant editors, inkers, letterers, writer's room. I guess that's how it was back then. It wasn't that way when I got into the business. Startling facts. What comic strip must travel 3,000 miles across the country before being published? Answer. Powerhouse. Pepper, drawn by Basil Wolverton. Basil Wolverton, the clever, scintillating cartoonist who won the Little Abner Lena the Hyena contest, recently writes and draws Powerhouse Pepper out in Vancouver, Washington, and mails it 3,000 miles to New York City where it's published. That's right. Slap that stuff in the mail. Ooh. Which famous comic magazine was completely written and drawn in Paris, France? Answer. Millie the Model. Well, would you look at that? Issue 9, written and drawn by Ken Bald. Millie's readers, Stanley decided to print an entire issue of Millie's adventures in Paris, France, and in order to be sure that the stories would be authentic, Stan Lee sent Ken Bald, the artist and writer of Millie, to France. Man, how cool is that? Take me back to 1947 and send me overseas to draw a story. How does a person become a comic strip artist or writer? Make good friends and pay off people. Now, I'm sure if you want to take the time to read this, you can pause. I'm trying to give a little bit on every page. You can pause and give it a read. Do all artists use models? No, of course we don't. For instance, Al Jaffe, the capable young artist and writer of Patsy Walker and Jeannie, once had a difficult shot to draw. The shot he had to draw called for Buzz Baxter in the Patsy Walker strip to point his finger straight at the reader. Now then, Al Jaffe's a very competent artist. He can draw mob scenes, tough angle shots, men, women, animals, almost anything. But it just happened that he couldn't think of a way to draw Buzz pointing his finger at the reader. Well then, what's Al Jaffe to do? That's right, he asked somebody to model for him. In this day and age, we would just look on the internet at Google Images or grab a mirror or take a picture with our handy-dandy phone. Of course, everybody needs a Stan Lee himself. Look at that typewriter. Was the youngest comic magazine editor and writer in New York. He started writing comic strips at the age of 16. And then Jim Shooter beat him because I think Jim started getting published by DC Comics when he was 13 or 14. So here we go. Some more nice good girl art here. Just talking how comic strip characters change throughout the years, as we all know they do. Yeah, let's see, right, draw comic change now, whether you live. Whoa, look at that. This book was $1 bill, and you could mail stuff to Stan Lee, Suite 5A, 15th East, 94th Street. I should Google that just to see what that joint looks like these days. So there you go, guys. A personal message from Stan Lee to all you comic magazine readers. And once again, there's his little address. So I hope you enjoyed this romp. Check it on eBay. I looked on Amazon and didn't see it. So see if you can find it. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane with Secrets Behind the Comics by Stan Lee. Originally 1947 and only cost you $1.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth, and now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. He's coming for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it, you'll be there, back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.